Hey, we're
Yay.
experimenting with going live, talking about
Right, working out all
relationships.
the kinks here. The kinks. So going live again. The last time was about 2 weeks ago, and we had some issues with the audio. So we got those worked out. Let us know in the chat if it's okay with the sound. We did a little mic check right before this, so it sounded good on our end. And so we're just wanting to create space for us to talk everything all about relationships. But I think it'd be great for us to recap in a way, kind of go back to the purpose of why we're starting this.
Right,
Hey?
is the purpose. I was thinking this morning as I made breakfast that I remember being younger and just thinking to myself, and I would stare at couples, and that seemed happy, and or that'd been married a long time, and I'd always think to myself, I really don't get it. Like I don't get how they do it. I really felt lost in my understanding of the complexity of human relationships. And so part of me is just so grateful that we're in the relationship that we are and teaching people the way that we are and that life has come full circle this way because I really feel like I totally get it. And that was just an insight that I had this morning of how I felt in my 20s and even in my 30s actually. Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm. So
Yeah, like growing up, I always wanted to be in a relationship. I think it's just more to be loved. Though I didn't know what love meant.
hmm.
Yeah. Other
What
than
does it
watching
mean to you?
movies.
Tell me. What does it mean to you? Do you know what it means
Like
now?
now?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just to be accepted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's simple.
You're right at the core of it. Though what is love? And I would just watch movies and look at my parents and look at other people, and I have these emotions and chemicals within me that I'm all of a sudden I'm attracted to the opposite sex. And unfortunately, being lost in pornography has really morphed and affected
Mm,
what I want in a relationship and what it should be, right? So yeah, I never had that inclination of what a healthy relationship is. It was more of, oh, I want to copy what I see in Hollywood.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We copy what we see, right? Whether that's in our own families or on movies, and they have such a great influence on us, don't they?
Mhm.
Happily ever after, and the screen goes blank, and then they don't tell you anything about that.
Yeah. And that's why we're creating this space now to, share our experiences, um, share the learnings, the insights that we get from our class, and really create a space to talk about the relationship. We always say the relationship with self, source, and others, and anything around that. Because I believe that at the core of everything that I do, at the core of society, is a relationship, and that could be a relationship with the environment. That could be a relationship with myself. I'm in relationship with everything, and everything is all connected. So have a conversation around that, and an open conversation is all about kind of getting to that root.
Hmm. How do we speak to ourselves? How do we speak to our surroundings? How do we
Mhm.
really be in relationship to what I would call our life serving energy? Most people, you know, emotions, they think there's some appendage to get rid of, especially when they're feeling negative ones. And when you talked about acceptance earlier, I was like, yeah, just acceptance of every type of energy that runs through us when we're frustrated or not. Just earlier, actually, it was really frustrating for Andre to get on this because he pushed the wrong button and couldn't do it. And I was sitting there going, I wonder if he needs my support right now or if I should leave him alone because he sounds quite frustrated and angry. And I wasn't sure how to support him before we got on here.
Yeah, I'm still moving through that right now. Even then, um, And just looking at that, just witnessing myself, I think it's just the meticulous planning that I've set up to avoid this, like scheduling
Mm,
the event, getting the audio, visual corrected, and the anticipation of just everything working smoothly. And all it took for me was to click the wrong button, and immediately I couldn't restart it. So I had to reset everything up, and feeling this time pressure that I put on myself, I was angry. I was angry at myself, frustrated at myself, and I felt this energy come up. Just before that, I was excited.
mm,
And just in that split moment, and I think it's this part of me that wants to look good and be competent and have everything under control. For this split second, I messed up. And this interpretation of what happened was directed towards myself in that instance. And I felt this rust of energy in my stomach, this heat, and then going up to my chest and then really out my throat. Just like, what the heck? Like, just really spewing all that stuff out just to release it. And I'm saying this because it's what's active in me right now. Right.
yeah, I know you have a real need to be competent, right? Which we all
Yeah.
do to be effective. And you have put a lot of work into this. And so I guess and tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing your belief was I'm not competent. I did it all wrong.
Yeah, it's more like, wow, look at that. Like, I'm worthless, and I'm an idiot. All those violent language that's directed towards myself. And yeah.
Yeah. I see David Hansen's on and he's having tech issues with viewing the live stream. The video is frozen. Okay, so
Mm.
I guess there's a few other things we have to figure out. I am curious what it's like just to stream it off of Zoom and see if it's better.
Yeah. I'm just looking on LinkedIn right now, and yeah, the video seems to be still,
Hmm.
you know.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Um, Still working out the kinks.
Thanks, David, for letting us know that. I'm
Yeah,
just going
thank
to check
you.
Facebook. Okay, how you feeling in your body right now?
Thank you, David, for letting us know.
Oh, on Facebook it's fine. It's
Yeah,
a bit delayed,
I
but
guess we can use
so
this
it must be
to just double
LinkedIn
check.
then.
Yeah, I see it moving and flowing on
Yeah,
Facebook there.
on Facebook. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, well, I'll have to check that afterwards. We'll see what happens there. You were asking the question of like, how am I feeling now?
Yeah.
Um, I still feel the residue of that frustration and then the anger in me right now. Um, Yeah, and it's just a realization that I had these expectations of how it should be, how it should be. It's going back to that, right? Still tripping on that piece, and when it doesn't line up, this is what's happening right now. And so, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so I wonder, maybe we can talk about that today. How do people work through each other's triggers? And if, I mean, anger is a big thing. People are like, well, you shouldn't be angry. Don't be angry. And, it's kind of an aggressive, scary energy for people that witness those kinds of things, right? Um, so I'm curious, what do you do to work through that? Maybe I can say what like I take a step back. A lot of people
Mm,
tend to judge those things. Oh my God, he's scary. He's whatever. Our culture doesn't seem to accept that that's an energy. And actually, when we were
mm,
at the retreat, they talked about aggression and the purpose of it, right?
mm. Right, right. No, I'll explain like how I handled anger before, and
Okay.
how I
Oh, did you?
handle anger now.
uh-huh.
Absolutely, I'm very quite familiar with anger. I mean, anger Anger was really the only emotion that was okay growing up in my household. I would say, like, in our blood, my family and I, we would have hot tempers. It's been said many times, and it's because what I witnessed was my parents holding in their anger until they explode. And I did the same thing. I would have temper tantrums. I would hold everything in. I wouldn't speak my truth. I was told not to actually have a voice, so I kept quiet until that anger built up because of whatever reason. And I will let it out through temper tantrums, or I would play video games and I would throw the controller. I got mad because I didn't win. It didn't go my way. Or I'll smash the keyboard. Yeah, yeah, I've done that. I've done that. Um, I've even in grade school lost my cool, snapped, and went ballistic on a kid as well. Right. So there's that part of me. I call it the berserker that's ever present. It's this part of me that is willing to die to take someone out alongside with me. It's pretty violent, right? And I think it's the accumulation of suppressing that aggression and that anger. And they say suppress aggression leads to violence. And so that violence was directed within myself and externally through objects, right? Things around me. And so it was very unhealthy. I would keep it inside and I'll blow up. I'll lose my casket. And it wasn't like releasing the pressure valve. It was just releasing everything. And it would be a cycle like that. And on the surface, it'd be like, ah, he's a nice guy. He's a kind man. Right. And that was my people pleaser side of me, just pretending everything was okay and just avoiding conflict until it was too late. And then that side of me would come out. Now, going through it, I mean, I discovered alcohol,
Mm.
drugs, porn, video games, distractions, substances to numb that. And it worked. I would just distract myself. So this time I'll just lose myself on those things and they will put it at bay. I would say now, well, including that was going to the gym. And I think looking back, like I love the gym for that reason. I think it was a place for me to vent. It was my meditation. It was a place for me to release that stress and that energy. But still, I didn't have a place to vocalize it healthy. You know, I
Mm.
didn't take any mixed martial arts, or I just worked out. Worked out was my thing. But still, there wasn't a space for me to express it in a healthy way. I didn't even know what that looked like or where to go.
So I'm curious because people are probably wondering and asking, like, okay, so repressed aggression creates violence. What are the appropriate ways to express aggression? What does that look like? Aggression is a force that gets us to do things, to build things, to get up in the morning, to do so many different things. It's an immediate push of energy that's so valuable. And so it sounds like working
Yeah.
out was a good one, but it also missed the expression of, well, authentic expression, I guess, of all your emotions.
Yeah, I still felt like it was a bypass in a way. I mean, I did use it to good use. I even imagine myself like getting so angry. I would liken it to the anime Dragon Ball Z, and there's some characters they're called Saiyans,
Mm.
and when they would power up, and their hair will turn yellow, and their power levels will go up. And I always imagine this when I work out to get an extra few reps in
Oh
more.
yeah. Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know.
I would imagine that power up, like, to get that extra burst of energy. So I did use anger in that healthy way. Well, in a transformative way. Though it didn't allow me to get to the crux of like how else can anger give me that wisdom, because I was still stuck in that cycle of using that as a way to release the pressure valve. But I didn't go down to the root of why that anger was there in the first place. So I was kind of stuck in this cycle, even though it was a good cycle of getting that bigger body, getting stronger, and using anger to feel it. Though there
Hmm.
wasn't of like, oh, why am I doing that? Where is this coming from originally? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, teaching from our course, we and Marsha Rosenberg's presence is that anger, underneath anger, there's something else. And it's a type of psychological armor for more vulnerable parts of ourselves. And one of the most wisest thing that I ever heard him say was that depression is anger turned inwards. And so it's curious to me, this anger, these judgments that come out that either get expressed externally, like in your frustration today, or for people that lay in bed that are depressed. And how can we recognize what we're feeling, express that? Like you said, you had no verbal way to express that to anybody in a way
Mm.
that could be, and you said love is acceptance, could be accepted.
Yeah, and I had this realization for right now because the anger is still present in my body, so I can speak to it as it in real time. And I'm noticing this embarrassment come up and this shame come up of even
Mm,
expressing that I was angry. Or there seems to be a difference between me expressing that I was angry and frustrated a week ago because I'm more calm and grounded and I moved past it and I found the wisdom. And it's like as if it's okay. But what I'm noticing right now as I express my anger and owning it and talking about it right now, there's a sense of embarrassment because I'm in it right now. It's as if like I don't want you to see me in my anger right now in this residue. And this is an aha moment because I'm actually comfortable about expressing my anger where I've already recovered from it from a past tense that I was angry and this is why. The what I'm not comfortable with is expressing anger in the moment right now.
so you're saying right now you're feeling embarrassed and shamed, like right now,
There
saying that like to
absolutely.
everybody who's on this, because we're on a public thing, but just
Absolutely.
to me, even if this wasn't on.
No, no, I mean, I think there's a hint of being live about it and
Mm,
sharing that more. I mean, sharing this with you, I'm comfortable.
mm,
Sharing in our class, which is a safe and closed container, is comfortable for me because I've done that many times. Though this is a live stream. This is
mm.
live right now. There's a different context for me to get used to expressing what's real for me in my body right now. And it is right, that residue of anger. I'm just noticing the feeling of embarrassment, the feeling of shame coming up, the feeling of being guarded. And this part of me is like, no, no, Dre, you shouldn't share that. You should only share it once you've overcome it. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is an edge for me, right? I'm noticing it right now to be able to share it when it's actually present in me right now as I move through it.
And
And that's
that's
what I aim to be.
mm, and that's the beauty of the work, but it's usually done in a much more private container, right? And I think this is part of our work is, and what we believe and why we're doing it is because everybody has these things. And unless we can move through it in the moment, it does explode. It comes out sideways, it comes out as violence. And so people always talk about dirty laundry. I'm like, if you can't put your dirty laundry outside for people to see, it can't be cleaned. And the beauty of doing that, again, with people who aren't judgmental, and of course, you're going to be online. So people are going to judge and do whatever they do. But I'm curious as you're moving
Mm,
through it now and speaking and having these realizations. And Elizabeth is here.
yeah.
I'm so excited she's here. How you're feeling? How is the energy
um,
moving?
how
Yeah.
it's moving, it's moving to a place of acceptance. I'm feeling calmer. I'm feeling more grounded because I'm allowing to speak and it's not being judged. And so
Mm,
what's making me realize is there a safe space for me to express my anger in the moment? You know, and looking back growing up, it was more of here it is. And I don't care about the consequences or the collateral damage that it has on other people around me, right? Or perhaps I'm in a relationship and I hold it back because of my fear of judgment, my fear of rejection, or even showing up at work and sharing my anger because I don't want to be reprimanded. I don't want to look unprofessional, right? So I hold that back and have that more stoic look perception, right? And so this practice of, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now, but I have a handle on it, you know? Yeah, I'm feeling angry. There's an anger residue. It's less now, though I got this. And I'm secure with expressing it, right?
Mhm.
Though if I'm with someone that's like, oh, Dre, like that's unprofessional, right? Or
Or you're,
doesn't
you're
know how to
acting
handle
like
it.
a child right now. Oh, you're throwing a temper tantrum. What kind of a man are you anyway? Right.
Right. Then I'm like, whoa, whoa, right? I close down. I don't feel safe. And I have the perception that, oh, I shouldn't share this at all. And so that it's hidden. And let's say the cameras aren't on me. What would I do? Maybe throw a fit, throw some F bombs, right? Go to the gym, do something to release it. It's such a transformative force, anger, that causes
Hmm.
my body to act and my voice to say things, right? To in a way regulate myself to let that energy move. So yeah, I'm definitely realizing that at this moment, there's a different energetic signature of expressing it in real time as the anger is here versus when the anger existed in the past, if
Yeah,
that makes
actually,
sense.
I don't think you've ever done that before. This is kind of a cool experiment.
Yeah. Right. Because like in the past, it would be like I would express it after the fact, after I have regulated myself, after I've done my, and you ask, okay, how do I cope? Well, I would journal.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I would write out what am I feeling, what am I needing, and then that would calm my nervous system down. Be like, ah, that's why I need space. I do need space for that. If you were to classify me as an attachment style, I'm an avoidant attachment style. Conflict scares me, so I run away, and I need to regulate myself on my own with my own space. So I do that to regulate myself. Or I go to the gym. I go to a hot tub. Sauna steam works great as well. Or I drown myself into my work. I do,
Mm, you do.
right? I love my work, and so my work can be used as a distraction. So that's how, and then we can reconnect, and then we talk about my anger, right? I share it in our class. Or you're on the receiving end of my anger, right?
Yep.
And the anger is it's in using nonviolent communication. It's unconscious, and so it creates collateral damage. Is what I'm saying. If that person isn't grounded, right? It could also I could also spur the saboteurs in you, and then we can both be angry at each other. And then what happens is that afterwards, I got to pick up the pieces, right? And come back to you in a calmer state versus, oh, wait a minute. Let's talk about the anger right here, right now. That's next level training.
What you're
See the
experiencing in the
difference
moment.
in the moment
Mhm.
versus allowing the saboteurs, the anger to create damage and then repairing it afterwards. It's actually working through the repair as it happens.
Yeah, in real time.
Yeah.
Having said that, I'm curious because you were annoyed by turning on this camera, quite angry. And I was like, I'm not sure what I should do in that moment. I was like, I think he needs space, but perhaps there's something else. So I'm like, "Mm, maybe I'll go into the office, right? Even though you're saying, I'm avoidant and I like space, I thought I would venture in. I did put my hand on my back, and I'm curious how, or on your back. I'm curious actually how you felt about that. Was that annoying
No, it
in the
wasn't.
moment?
It
No.
was no, it was supportive, because I wasn't angry at you. I was angry at myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a huge difference, and it gave me permission to vent in that moment.
Okay. So my hand on your back then felt supportive, and it gave you
Yeah,
permission just to vent
yeah,
what you needed to.
yeah,
Hmm. Okay.
yeah. it gave me permission to express myself, what was happening within me. Yeah, because I
Interesting,
didn't feel
'cause
judged by you.
right, I might expect that and this is just an expectation or an assumption that people might think is I put my hand on your back and it calms you down so you don't have to express that, but that's not the truth. It's like allowing someone to express what's ever there. And then if I get upset or I'm like shocked, I then have to regulate myself.
Mhm. Right.
And
And
that's
and
the trick, right? Hmm.
yeah, but there's a nuance there as well because, I can tell when someone's angry at me versus angry at themselves. So it's much more difficult if the anger is projected at me. And I
Hmm.
gotta realize, wait a minute, it's actually not about me. But then my core wounding is it's my fault. I did something wrong. And so it becomes much more difficult when I'm in an emotionally stressful moment and it concerns me, if that makes sense.
Well, here's the thing though, and I'll call you out on that one because, when I went to visit my parents and I came home, I was, I don't know, I wasn't even angry. I was a little sad, a little discombobulated, tired from the trip. And it wasn't about you per se. So sometimes we perceive things as being about us, but it's very important to know that no matter what someone's feeling, you might have been the trigger of it, but you're still not the reason for it. Because everyone has a different perception of people's behaviors and they can feel differently. You might go berserker or someone else might throw a fit or do something, and there's people who are very calm in those moments. They aren't alerted, they aren't discombobulated in those moments. And so to me it's about how do we learn to observe without judgment about what we think other people's behavior actually means. And to me
Yeah.
that's the biggest
Mm.
piece of it. And so I was just trying to connect that because you were saying, it's different if I perceive the anger is projected at me or outside. But in our relationship, I've noticed that it doesn't matter necessarily if I'm projecting it at you or not. If I'm
Well,
just
I think
off.
mm, there's a missing level of detail there because my
Mm,
core wounding is I'm not good enough. That's why I have a huge need for confidence because my parents have told me that I was never good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not as good as this other kid. So self worth, self respect, self love is lacking in me growing up.
mm,
So I always look for what's wrong with me. And so when you came back from your parents from Calgary, I think we're missing a piece of detail here. I wasn't home.
mm.
I
No,
wasn't
you
home.
weren't. Yeah.
And so when I came home and did not connect and drop in with you, or perhaps because I was away, I perceived that I wasn't being a good partner by holding space for you. And I turned it and twist it by saying, I'm a bad partner because I was meeting this friend
Mm,
while I
mm-hmm.
should have been at home when you were coming home. So then
I
I
did.
made
Yeah.
it about me.
Well, I did miss you. I did.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to coming home and seeing you.
Yeah. Though like I sensed that you were upset, right? And I didn't read the field. I didn't read the field. I sensed that I didn't speak to it. Because my core wounding is, oh, it's my fault.
Mm,
So I gotta go away. And my normal strategy is I gotta leave until you feel better and it feels safe for me to reconnect with you. That's my pattern, okay? And I get it from an intellectual point of view of, yeah, nobody can make me feel anyway, right? It's my perception of what they did that makes me feel. That totally makes sense. Everybody, yep, everybody agrees to that. Though in the moment, that intellectual understanding goes out the window because my body is responding or reacting for me unconsciously. So the Jedi training is to intercept that in the moment. I can read on all the couples books and know that, wait a minute, I got to stay calm. But it's not until I'm in the action that it gets applied. And that's the opportunity and invitation, right?
Yeah. When we're triggered, find our mirror to apply
Yeah.
it in the
And
moment.
it
Yeah.
takes time. Like at first, it's like, I dropped the ball. I fucked up, right? Okay. I have the awareness now. Now I get to try again when that moment comes up again.
Yeah. And so what you noticed, and I remember because we talked about this before, is, oh yeah, I came home and I could tell that, or you could tell I was out of sorts in some way. I guess you interpreted
Mhm.
it to be I'm a screw up. But you realize, oh, I should have
Mm,
said
no.
something about the field, right? I should have just said, hey,
Yeah.
what's up?
Well, I didn't interpret you as a screw up. I interpreted you as being upset.
Yeah. Did I say screw up? Oh, I thought I just said upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
thought you interpreted yourself to be a screw up in that moment.
Yeah. I messed up. I did something wrong.
Yeah.
Because already sensed the upset was directed towards me in the field. There's something about me because I think we clarify I wasn't there when you arrived home. I was meeting someone else for about like an hour or so, right? So
Yeah, and I just sent you a
I
few
sense
messages.
the frustration was directed towards me. So I'm like, what's wrong? But I didn't take ownership in clarifying what that was and
Yeah.
not speaking it out loud, saying, "Hey, babe, I sense you're feeling upset." Just even putting that out there.
Would have totally diffused how I was feeling out of,
Totally.
oh,
Though,
because
though my nervous system was like, "Oh shit!" Like I got to
yeah.
walk around eggshells, right? And my normal default strategies. You know what? I'm just gonna avoid it, and everything's gonna be fine. And typically, avoiders, it doesn't turn out that way, right? That it will resolve on its own, right? It's just like that boiling pot of water that I just leave and then come back and the house is on fire, right?
Well, I have to say, because I, I wasn't that upset. Like on a trigger scale of 1 to 10, I was maybe a 3 or a 4, maybe. Like mostly I was like, oh, where is he? And I was mostly feeling confused because I texted you, and we usually communicate quite often, 4 or 5 hours before to let you know what time I'd be home. And I hadn't heard anything, and I didn't know what was going on. So there was a degree of confusion,
Mhm.
a degree of worry as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
right. Yeah, I didn't communicate clearly, on that. Yeah, I get the sense that you were worried and confused and yeah, and all of a sudden you found out that I was okay and meeting a friend for coffee. I'm like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So curious, because I'm sure if people are listening or watching, they're like, okay. Because people in relationship, when people are triggered and they don't know how to move through it, they really feel embarrassed, or they hide certain parts of their relationship. But I'm pretty excited to um, teach people how we can help guide people in processing the energy as we're experiencing it. I think this is the next stage in our human evolution of being able to be what I would call healing conduits for each other. This radical acceptance and understanding of the universal law of energy as it moves through our body conduits, because all energy is directed towards life itself. It's always directed towards well being and to getting our needs met, our life serving energy. It's our judgments, those distortions, those sneaking, those weird things that we don't speak to, but that we can feel, that causes the problem. All this hiding and this secrecy. And sometimes we're not even aware of it. Like some of the men in our class last night, they're like, choosing our feelings and putting words to the sensations in our bodies is actually really hard. It's challenging because we've never been taught. And it's not an acceptable thing in most families to actually do.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited because I see so much hope in the world for people that can simply accept each other, as you said.
Mm. Yeah. Accept the experience that's happening right now in
Yeah.
you and in me. And not having to fix it or give advice, offer
Mhm.
comfort because I'm uncomfortable of what's arising. Because it's really what's arising in you is what's arising in me. Because if someone is crying, how does that make me feel? Hmm? Does
Well, I
that make
guess
me
if we
feel
don't know what
uncomfortable?
to do with it, then yeah, makes you uncomfortable, makes you want to fix it, makes you
I
want to stop it.
Yes, yes, yes. And like if I'm unaware, then I'm unaware. I think everything is great. I have strategies to keep myself on track. I'm not having to look what's underneath the hood until perhaps the check engine light comes on. And then I'm like, "What the hell does that mean?" It's I do judge the check engine light because it's so, like, mysterious. I have no clue what's going on. And most of the time it gives me anxiety. So a lot of times I'm like, "Ah, whatever," right? And
Mhm.
that's what most people do with what's going on
That
within here.
that is so true. I love that analogy you just did, the check engine light, right? We know so many men, especially women too. They wait until they're in a separation or divorce. The check engine light goes on before they're
Yeah.
learning communication skills, before they're learning to be uncomfortable with and start checking in with their own bodies and start being able to describe what's going on for them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
engine
and
light.
and feelings are those check engine light, right? To lead me to what the issue is, which is my needs. And we can simplify this work by just going down to the root of what are my needs that are not being met.
Yeah,
That's the beauty of this work, isn't it? It's so simple, but at the same time it's difficult to implement, I say, because it's just learning a new paradigm
it
at whatever
is.
years old, right? So how many years of education, how many years have lived already? It's really, yeah, unwiring all that learning
And learning
and relearning.
deprogramming. Yeah.
Yep.
It takes
Hmm.
time, it takes practice. And I've got to share a pet peeve that's just coming up to me right now. I see on Facebook there's this thing. Oh, become a relationship coach in 12 weeks. I'm like, are you kidding me? After my 20 years of my master, people can become a relationship coach. How are their relationships in 12 weeks? Andre and I are taking training in the UK with a gentleman who's been doing nonviolent communication work, Marshall Rosen's work for 24 years. And he'll admit sometimes he still struggles with it. We have deeply ingrained patterns from our grandparents, whether it's just in our childhood or in their DNA. We have patterns of war not far back in our world, of dividing others, of judging others, of creating enemies out of others because of our judgments. And for anyone that believes they can become a relationship coach in 12 weeks, and I'm curious what their relationships look like, this is one of my pet peeves or one of my triggers, is that it drives me crazy. And for anyone to think that they can fix themselves when we're in a constant process of evolution, I'm just going to say that it's unrealistic and that we need a lot of patience and practice um, with each other. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'll say to that is like that I'm the body of work end of the
Mm.
day, right? Am I living what I preach? Am I embodying what I teach? And it's only through time and through how I show up that prove its weight in gold, right? Then yeah, I do encourage people to be relationship coaches or life coaches, and it's just a way of life now.
Hmm.
It's not that a certificate says that I'm good and I stop my learning. Just like in our class, we always say it's 8 weeks, but it doesn't mean that in 8 weeks you have it figured out. We give you the foundations, but it's actually a lifelong practice. So being a coach, being someone that can help and support others, it's really about living that out. And that takes time. And if someone sticks with it, right, they'll realize, oh, wait, I still haven't got it figured out. And that's why I appreciate our teacher saying he's been doing this for 24 years and he's still learning. And that's my becoming, my way of becoming as well. Is like, am I in a place where I can express myself truthfully what's going on, warts and all, the good, bad, and ugly.
Mhm.
Even though I teach this, right? What does that mean, right? Well, I want to say that I'm looking to embody this and then share my real life examples of what's happening, and really removing that professionalism, whatever that is. I get there's code of conduct, right? That's got to be in place and confidentiality. But in terms of like sharing what's underneath myself, like I'm here to share what's real because that allows me to move through it versus pretending that I have it all together.
Yeah, that is definitely one of my things that I think we're going to move through out of psychology, out of those experts, because each person is an expert in their own life. And
Mhm.
I think to
Yeah.
truly heal, to truly connect to others, you have to share and have shared humanness and human expression. And people can truly feel. Otherwise, it creates this false sense of separation because you truly can't connect to somebody. And um, Rachel Naomi Remen was a physician, a doctor who became more of a shaman, who said that, the wholeness in me is the same as the wholeness in you. And it's not just our expertise, it's even our brokenness that can serve each other. Um, and the more that classes we teach, the more I'm just gifted in awe of the raw beauty of seeing people in the places where they think they're broken. But it just shows how God streams through them to heal them as long as there's an acceptance. And there's nothing I would rather be doing, nor a person I'd rather be doing it with. So,
Thank you.
Elizabeta! I love that you've been hanging out with us for the last 2, 3 years. And I so appreciate your presence in every single thing that you come on to, all the way from Romania.
Yeah. So I love how this turned and went into what's really alive, right? In me and you right now. And we'll be going live. And the intention is every Friday at 12 Mountain Time. And creating the space where, yeah, it's really about the relationship with self, source, and others. And we may come with the topic, we may come with the guest coming on. Perhaps our conversations will drive and shift to what's in the chat as well. So we're treating it as a flowy conversation, discussion.
Yeah, bring your questions. And we can
Yeah.
invite people actually to speak on the camera too if they want to, right?
Yeah, I think we
Is that
gotta
very
we gotta
soon?
plan that ahead. We gotta plan
Oh,
ahead.
okay.
Yeah, we
Okay.
gotta yeah. So they gotta jump on restream and join us. Yeah,
Okay. That'd be amazing.
that's right.
I loved Chris Rosebud was on last time talking
Hmm.
about how relationships and talking affect health because he had a heart attack and how the feeling of being loved and accepted changed the outcome of people with cardiac issues like drastically, especially men. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see him again and talk about that again.
Truly, I mean, health is relationships. Like,
Uh,
yeah, right. If I'm around the people that are toxic, I'm gonna be toxic, or it's gonna drain my energy, right? And even the relationship with myself, like, how harsh do I speak to myself?
pretty
Very much.
harshly, as I observed earlier today.
Yeah, I do have a harsh critic for sure, especially one that's driven by performance and looking good and having it all together. And when that
Yeah.
doesn't happen, it's like boom, here it comes. So it's great recognition.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that today, babe.
Yeah, welcome. And so we'll wrap it up here, and yeah, we'll set up our next one. So appreciate everybody tuning in and contributing. We'll figure out the LinkedIn part here. Those kinks, all natural part. That's why we're doing this, right? We're just working it out, learning as we go.
Bye, everybody. See you next
Bye,
week.
everyone.